Recently Disney did their big Investors Day announcements last week, and it was nuclear. It was unbelievable how much stuff that they announced. One of the most exciting things to me, my most exciting thing they announced was that they were going to do a Shogun series on FX. I've been waiting for that for decades. Anyway, one of the most exciting things, though, I think most people would agree that they announced, was that Patty Jenkins, one of my favorite directors, probably a top 10 favorite director of mine in Hollywood right now. And she's got her Wonder Woman 84 movie coming out here in just about 11 days from now on HBO Max. Patty Jenkins is coming over, and she is going to do a Rogue One movie, or a Rogue Squadron movie, I should say. Rogue One's already been done, John. Yes, a Rogue Squadron movie. And it was the coolest announcement they did. Like Patty, if you guys didn't see the stream, Patty Jenkins, she's like on some runway, and she's telling the story about how, her father was a fighter pilot in the military. He died serving his country, which is like really cool to hear. And she's talked about how she's always wanted to find and make the greatest like fighter pilot movie of all time. That's always been like her dream and her goal. And she said, I've always tried to find that story, and now I found the story. And then she puts on an X-Wing fighter helmet, walks down the runway as the camera turns, and you see an X-Wing on the runway. It's just the coolest way. That was the coolest way to announce anything that they did on that stream. Well, understandably so, that got a lot of people talking about, is it going to be, of course, there was the old Rogue Squadron novels, and will it be based on this? Will it be based on that? Will it be based on all these kind of things? Will it be a direct interpretation of a certain story here or there? Well, Patty Jenkins has just kind of said something that is not surprising to me, but may surprise some people. And that's the fact that the Rogue Squadron movie she's working on is not actually going to be based on any of the books or video games. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise. And we'll talk about this in a second, but let's go over specifically. She was doing an interview with IGN. She said the following. In the Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie, we're doing something original with great influence from the games and the books. For sure, there's influence. There's a lot of things being acknowledged and understood about the greatness of all those things. But yes, it is an original story, and I am so psyched to do it. Now, look, the reason I say this really shouldn't surprise any of us, that it's going to be a completely original story, is this is the way they've been doing comic book movies forever, right? Comic book movies are never a direct adaptation. Like when they did the Thor movie, that was not a direct, Kenneth Branagh's great, magnificent Thor movie. That was not a direct adaptation of any singular story that they pulled out of the MCU, the Marvel Comics. When they do movies with the exact title from the comics, say X-Men Days of Future Past, it is very rarely similar to the actual comic strip. Like the movie X-Men Days of Future Past is radically different from the actual comic story of X-Men Days of Future Past, and all that sort of stuff. So it's really not a surprise to me that Patty Jenkins is going to do an original story, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Patty Jenkins has shown she can tell remarkable stories. She works great with performers, and for them to do an original story while being influenced and inspired by things that are in the Legends playground, I think is the perfect mixture. I really do. Now, just because she says it's not going to be directly based on any of the books or video games, that doesn't mean she can't cherry pick elements out, right? Like a lot of people were wondering when they announced this, like, will Wedge Antilles be a part of this? No reason he couldn't be. I don't think it's a guarantee that he would be, and he doesn't have to be, but he very well could be. So for me, it's going to be very interesting to see how Patty Jenkins decides to navigate all this. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a great call to make it all purely original while drawing influence from that older source material. Question is, guys, what do you think about that? I think it's a good move. Maybe you have some concerns. If so, jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Okay, guys.